Hello, I'm Allyson Brooks with the League of Women Voters. Welcome to our Forum for County Auditor. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization dedicated to ensuring that we have informed voters. With us today for Auditor are Mr. Rick Abbett and Ms. Kim Wyman. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement. And with that, we shall start with Mr. Abbett. 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Rick Abbett. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, where I attended Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory Academy. I moved to Washington State in 1976 and attended Western Washington University. I moved to Olympia in 1983, where with my wife Janet, we raised 3 beautiful children. I was a stay-at-home dad when my children were young, started a small business, and then volunteered for a nonprofit organization. Served an internship in the county commissioner's office doing water quality liaison work. I then moved up through a nonprofit organization in various capacities, eventually becoming their legislative liaison, lobbyist, and president and CEO, and then corporate executive. I've served my community in many capacities, working on salmon recovery over the years in the state legislature, as well as on county commission and port issues. I think that we need some changes here in Thurston County. For a long time, we've had a stalemate over many community issues, whether it's homelessness, affordable housing, downtown development, economic development, and jobs. I think we need to create a better sense of community, and to do that, I think we need to reach out to all the different underrepresented minorities, the disenfranchised, students, as well as renters. I think that with some encouragement and community outreach, we can really have a future that all of us together participate in and have ownership of. My vision is one that we all work together. And I believe that the county auditor, as the chief election officer, has that responsibility.
Thank you. Ms. Wyman, you have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
I'm Kim Wyman, and I've been Thurston County Auditor since 2001. I have, my husband and I live in Lacey. My husband John and I live in Lacey with my son and daughter, who are graduates. My daughter is a graduate of Timberline High School, and she's presently attending Gonzaga, and my son is a sophomore at Timberline. Prior to being the county auditor, I was the election supervisor and assistant recording manager in the auditor's office since 1991. And as far as my qualifications, I am a graduate of Troy State University with a master's degree in public administration and a graduate of Long Beach State with a degree in communicative disorders. I hold a certification of, I'm a certified elections, okay, I'm doing the Jan Brenner thing. I am a certified election administrator by both the state of Washington and Auburn University in the Election Center. And in addition to my qualifications, I am involved in many community organizations. I served on the United Way Board as past president, and I am on the Lacey Rotary. Additionally, I am involved with many organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club, Little Red Schoolhouse, and Well Read, Well Fed. And I enjoy serving this community, and I'm proud of the office that we've built. I'm running and seeking a 4th term because I believe there's more that we can do. We have done a good job of taking care of the voters of this county and making sure that the financial stability of Thurston County government has remained stable and has positioned us well for this downturn in the economy. And I look forward to serving you for another 4 years, and I ask for your vote in November.
Thank you both. Mr. Abbett, first question. What 2 major challenges do you think you'd face in administering the auditor's office in the next session other than financial? You have 2 minutes.
Well, I think one of the challenges that we have right now is really to address the fact that less than 1/2 of eligible voters are registered in the United States, and it's also here in the state of Washington and across the board in the counties. And of those 1/2 of eligible voters that are registered, only 1/2 of those vote. We have an opportunity here to really turn a corner here with this country and move back into a direction of world leadership. And our children are facing a future that none of us really anticipated, but with a lot of help from us by standing on our shoulders, I believe that they can also still have the same sort of opportunities that we've had. But to be able to do that, they have to be able to become engaged, and also the ethnic minorities of our community, I think, have been left behind, and that is a challenge. And I think that with community outreach, through our granges, through our fire stations, through our churches, our neighborhood associations, and civic organizations, that we can begin to pull together as a community and face these challenges head on.
Thank you. Ms. Wyman, you have 1 minute to respond.
I think the biggest challenges that we face in the next 4 years in Thurston County is going to be maintaining the service levels that our citizens are accustomed to and continuing those with decreased revenues. The economy has certainly hit Thurston County, and we've done a good job of balancing that. My goals are always to keep our service hours from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and to make sure that all voters get their ballot in time to vote, and that people are well informed, that they are getting local voters pamphlets and getting information. And the biggest challenge, I think, is going to be continuing to provide that high level of service that people in Thurston County have come to expect, and maintain that with a reduction in the revenues to do that.
Thank you. And the next question, Ms. Wyman. In a time of tight county financial resources, would you support fewer performance audits and more financial audits? Why or why not? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Thurston County hasn't had too many performance audits. We are getting ready to have one in September by the State Auditor's Office, and I am a huge supporter of that. I think it is one of the best ways to have someone come in with an objective approach and look at the way you're doing business and offer suggestions to do it better. As far as our accounting audits that we do every year, that's done by the Secretary or by the State Auditor's Office, and our county has had clean audits for the last 4 years, and we will continue to do that in the future. And those are, of course, important because we want to comply with all of the laws and regulations that are in place, but we also want to make sure that the fiscal integrity of the county is maintained at all times. So it's a balance between both. One of the things that I would like to do in the next 4 years is restore our internal audit program and begin doing that more for the offices and departments in the county.
Thank you. Mr. Abbott, you have 1 minute to respond.
I think that the internal audits need to be front and center, myself, up front. I think that it's very important that we, in this economic time with the anticipated downturn in revenues, that be the primary way that we approach it. Performance audits also through the state, I think, are going to be very important, as well as the continuation of the internal audits. I think that the scrutiny of those things, as well as increasing the ability of citizens to be aware of their results and to be participating in the process as we go along, would be important.
Thank you. Next question, Ms. Abbott. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Next question, Mr. Wyman, goes to you. In a time of, pardon?
Mr. Abbott.
Oh, Mr. Abbott, sorry. In a time of tight, no, let me ask this one. How would you audit claims against the county in a more timely and efficient manner?
To audit the claims up front would be of primary importance. I think that we need to be able to address these things head on, and if there's been any way that they could have been done in the past, I'm not familiar with, but I know that with my experience as a corporate executive in a nonprofit, that I'd assure that they were done in a timely manner and as professionally as possible.
You have 1 minute to respond.
One of the areas of my office is the Financial Services Division, and the responsibility of that division is to do all of the accounts payable for the county and payroll as well. And the accounts payable would be the claims of the county. So we actually have reduced the amount of time it takes to audit those claims and make sure that we're paying our vendors in a very efficient manner and getting those payments out. So we actually have reduced the time it takes to process those, and we've reduced the number of staff that we use to do that as well.
Okay, next question to you, Ms. Wyman. Would you favor any changes to the county's current mail-in ballot procedures? And if so, what would they be? And you have 2 minutes.
Changes to the mail-in procedures, actually, I think we've been doing a very good job of that. The thing I'm probably most proud of would be our email ballot program that we do for military and overseas voters. This is a program we've been doing since 1996, and it has been very effective. It adds about 10 days to 2 weeks for travel time and transit time for those voters. And mainly, we just continue to work to try to get our ballots out as soon as possible. By law, we have to have them out 20 days before an election, and we have met that with no problem. But anytime we can do anything to get them out earlier, probably be where I would spend my time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Abbott, you have 1 minute.
I think it's been a very bold advance to go to mail-in voting, but I understand that a lot of people were used to the polling that we did before, and would like to make sure that we have all the available materials that we could possibly have so that voters can make an intelligent choice. And I would expand the voter pamphlet statement to include judicial races and congressional races. I think there's been some undervoting, especially in the state Supreme Court races, as a result of not including them, and that we could reduce the size of the sample ballot and without having to increase any cost to be able to do so.
Okay, next question. Mr. Abbott, what would you do to increase the number of citizens who are registered voters? You have 2 minutes.
First of all, I would begin an active community outreach program. As I spoke before, I think that if we utilize civic organizations like the League of Women Voters, like the Granges, the fire stations, other civic organizations, as well as the churches and community groups and neighborhood associations, if we have a very active outreach program that engages them as well as renters. I think that one of the big problems we have, especially in this economic downturn, is the number of renters, as well as college students who have a very small window of opportunity to be able to do their change of address and to get their ballots in. And I think that if we were able to really do that sort of a thing on a proactive way, that we would really make progress.
Ms. Wyman, you have 1 minute to respond.
In Thurston County, over 80% of the eligible voters are currently registered to vote, and I would still like to see that be 100%. And one of the opportunities I had over the last couple of years has been in being engaged with the Pew Center on the States on a program to modernize voter registration. And I think where we really need to move as a state and as a country is to make it easier for people to register to vote, specifically utilizing technology like the internet. Right now, residents in my county can register online through the Secretary of State site, and that's a huge step forward. But we also need to make it easier to have that registration follow you. So when you move from Olympia to Seattle, right now the last thing people think about is updating their voter registration. And then quite frankly, that's the biggest problem we have with registration, is people keeping it current. So we want to make that easier so that once you register, it's very easy to keep it current and updated.
Thank you. And now for the last question, and it is a little long, so if you need me to repeat it, feel free to ask. And it goes to Ms. Wyman first. The last question deals with budget priorities. We know that all levels of government are facing difficult budget questions. The auditor has many different responsibilities. Among them are to work with the Secretary of State on elections and registration of voters, to record land transaction and deeds, to audit claims against the county, to audit all county agencies, to issue various licenses, and to keep the records of county finances. How would you deal with the cuts or the proposed cuts to the auditor's budget? And what would be your 3 budget priorities? 2 minutes.
Well, that's a great question. In the last 2 years, Thurston County has been through some pretty substantial downsizing, and my office is no exception. We've cut about $1 million out of our budget since 2008, and I'm really proud of what we've done because we had 3 budget priorities to deal with that. The very first one was we wanted to keep our service levels at their present in 2008 level as long as we could. Our second priority was to help the general fund, and the general fund is where county government, the commissioners have discretion to fund anything, and that's where most administrative offices lie. The sheriff's office would be one of those, and we know that that we need to make public safety a priority, so we want to help the general fund as much as possible. And our third was, I wanted to manage vacancies. I didn't want to hand an actual person a pink slip. And in the last 2.5 years, we've been able to accomplish those 3 goals. Looking to the future, those goals remain the same, and it really is being more efficient and being innovative and doing everything that we can to be the best county in the state. And my staff does that every single day when they come to work, and really it's not going to change too much. I think we are going to do things that make things less expensive to run. One of the things I'm really proud of over the last 2 years is we bought a mail sorting machine, and it sounds really administrative, I think, but it helps us process our incoming ballots faster and more efficiently, and it has allowed us to really cut our expenses in elections, which of course frees up money for other things, and so we'll continue to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Abbott, you have 1 minute unless you need me to read the question again, because it was long. You good?
Go ahead and read the question again,
Okay.
please.
The last question deals with budget priorities. We know that all levels of government are facing difficult budget questions. The auditor has many different responsibilities. Among them are to work with the Secretary of State on elections and registration of voters, to record land transactions and deeds, to audit claims against the county, to audit all county agencies, to issue various licenses, and to keep records of county finances. How would you deal with cuts to the auditor's budget, and what would be your 3 budget priorities? 1 minute.
Well, I agree with Ms. Wyman, and I think that we need to continue on the direction that we're doing, but we need to do a better job at doing it. And one of the first things that I would do would be to make sure that the efficiencies that we could attain that come from staff are able to be brought forward and implemented. And then the other thing that I think that we need to do is, because accessibility and transparency and accountability really are what the citizens need and want to have. So I would propose that we start having quarterly open houses where all county officials and program staff are available for citizens to come in and actually see how operations are run, and to be able to share in what it is that is done so that they feel that they can trust the office as well as the rest of the county offices to do the best that they can possibly do with limited resources.
Thank you. And now you both will have 1 minute for a closing statement, and Ms. Wyman, you will go first. 1 minute.
Well, it has been a privilege to serve as Thurston County Auditor since 2001, and I hope to continue that in the future. I am very proud of the office that we've built and the openness and the integrity that my staff brings to county government. This election is about leadership, it's about innovation, and it's about experience. And these are the 3 qualities I bring to this office every day, and I intend to continue to do in the future. I ask for your vote because I believe that I can make this office the best office in the state, in the country, and I do believe that we are a national leader that really sets the bar and the standards for not only elections, but finance and records and licensing. So I ask for your vote, I ask for your support, and I thank you for supporting me in the past. My name is Kim Wyman.
Thank you. Mr. Abbott, you now have 1 minute for a closing remark.
I think that leadership is the key and vision is the key in this county, and that the auditor's office can lead, as I explained before, in bringing people together and creating a sense of community. And I promise that I will do so with the utmost integrity and trust in all operations. I will assure that there's absolutely the best service available to all of our citizens, and that we continue to carry forward that standard as the best auditor's office in the state of Washington and nationally.
Well, thank you both. I'd like to thank both Kim Wyman and Rick Abbott for joining us today. And I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And please consider joining the League of Women Voters. We accept both men and women as members. And the most important thing of all is please remember to vote. Thank you.